So my name is Rachel Ratliff, and I grew up in Riverton, Wyoming. I actually have my undergraduate degree from the University of Wyoming in elementary education, and now I'm back getting my master's degree in mental health counseling. This year, I'm actually the Nontraditional Student Council president and active on campus in many other ways too. Okay, non-traditional students are anyone who is 25 in their undergraduate degree and they're 25 or older. Maybe they're starting as a freshman in their undergraduate degree, 21 and up. Their parents, maybe they have a spouse, they're dependents of the state, their parents may be deceased, they're in charge of a dependent, a veteran. All grad students, so anyone in their master's or doctoral program, are also non-traditional students. I think you're gonna see a lot of people who are busy doing things off campus. So whether it's taking care of their families, or maybe they have a full-time job off campus, they might live not in Laramie, they might live somewhere else and be commuting in. And so you're gonna see that they're really busy, they don't spend a lot of time on campus, and they may even be online-only students. So traditional students are students who left high school and then started college right away. And so they usually have a common denominator of living on campus in the dorms for their first year. They usually don't have employment outside of the campus, so you'll see them spending a lot more time on campus, more engaged in campus activities, just because this is where they live and work and go to school. So you'll also see that traditional students don't have a lot of extra things to worry about that non-traditional students might, and such as a family or a job outside of school, or just a household to run. And so you'll see that they're a lot busier, or seem a lot busier, than traditional students. Also with the age factor, you just have different things to worry about when you're 28 compared to 18. And so I think you'll just see just a different set of concerns or factors going on in their life outside of school than you would with a traditional student. It's been my experience that because non-traditional students are older, or they have different things on their plate, they typically tend to take their education a little more seriously. So you might see more questions to the professor about certain things if they don't understand something, or you might see just more attention paid to their assignments. It's very important that they get to class every day or communicate with the professor if they can't. You're gonna see them trying to juggle all of the different things, but education is gonna be maybe a higher priority. Not that traditional students don't feel like their education is a priority, but I think there's just a different level of importance if they're a little older coming back to school. I know at the resource fair in August, I met an older gentleman, maybe in his 60s, who was so proud to be a freshman here at the University of Wyoming. And so I think just talking with him and feeling his excitement, I think he probably has a little different perspective on his education than the 18-year-old who's coming in straight from high school. can be tricky. So one thing I know that the Non-Traditional Student Council is working on this year is just some ageism that can happen on campus. Being older, people aren't typically used to seeing older students, even though non-traditional students make up about a fourth of the student population on campus. And so you might get questioned a lot. To like show your student ID if you're like showing up to different events that are only for students. You may not get invited to certain things, even though you're standing there with other students, just because they think, oh, you're a community member or you're not a student. So we're really trying to work on educating people that not every student on campus is straight out of high school, and that older individuals can be students too. So I think that's something that students run into, and something that I know the council is working really hard to educate people on. I think that makes it a little harder to sometimes engage in campus if you're going to be questioned a lot. And then just having a lot of things on your plate means that you're probably not going to show up to a lot of on-campus events. You're really going to have to pick and choose what you're doing and why. You're probably going to be looking for events that you could bring your kids to. I know last week we just had a Christmas event, and students were able to bring their families with them to eat and play games. And, if kids weren't able to come, then that would have excluded some of the people who did come to our event. In the classroom, I think you might find that non-traditional students ask more questions, or maybe more engaged with the content and willing to speak up more, which possibly traditional students might find annoying at first, but I think it adds to the richness of the classroom and the course, and I feel like most people end up valuing that aspect of students bringing their outside of the classroom knowledge into the classroom, but it can take some getting used to, I think, for traditional students as well as non-traditional students to be working in an environment together where maybe they're not used to working with somebody older than them, and non-traditional students may not be used to working with somebody younger than them. So it's definitely can be a mixed bag of nuts in the classroom. I think for any student, there's a lot of support on campus. Specifically for the non-traditional students, you of course have the council. The council works really closely with ASUW, and so we have a lot of power to affect change on campus. If something is happening and you're not happy with it, please come be a part of the council, tell the council what's going on so that we can help. I think as well as just anyone on campus is really willing to help any student. So checking on our website and financial aid's website for scholarships specific to non-traditional students. We're currently working with the financial aid department to get a special section for scholarships that are available or eligible for non-traditional students. And then you look around and you can, I think it's Disability Support Services, you can call or look at their website, and they have a list of childcare options in town and how to help. I know ASUW has a specific scholarship just for parents to help just anything as you're taking care of your kids. Maybe you want to take them to the Denver to go to the zoo or something. How can you take care of your kids if you had this scholarship? So just kind of looking around and being aware, but I think the council definitely is kind of a first stop shop to help you find anything that you need on campus. Also in the union is the Non-Traditional Student Center. It has computers, free printing, a fridge, a microwave, and just other non-traditional students hang out there. So it's a great place if you're on campus and have some time between classes to hang out and get to know other people. time is important, and so really being flexible on when you can meet, because a non-traditional student might have traditional work from 8 to 5. And so I understand that as an advisor, you probably don't want to have to work late, but being willing to have maybe one night where you're working like 6 to 8 to advise non-traditional students can be helpful, or being willing to work over email or the phone to do some advising. Really kind of checking in on some of the things outside of school that might be affecting the student, whether maybe it's spousal problems, or maybe they're a single parent, or maybe the student is even pregnant, and how can you help connect that student to the resources that will help them. So checking in on things that are happening outside of school, because non-traditional students tend to have so many things on their plates. And I think just being understanding and being really open to the fact that this student probably has a very serious goal, and they're probably feeling pretty serious about their schooling. And so being willing to not only just be available at a different time, but just making your time really valuable when you're together. For me, I think it's that you're not just helping the student, but you're helping maybe a whole family system. And so your impact is actually seems a little greater than with a traditional student, just because, when you help the mom or you help the dad, then you're also helping the kids. When you help the husband or the wife, then you're also helping their spouse. If you're helping to make things easier for that person, you're actually affecting a whole system. And so I think that's really cool. And, I feel like when non-traditional students really get gung-ho about something, like things really change, and change quickly. Like they know how to make things happen quickly, just because they don't have a lot of time. So I think it can be really valuable in that you get a lot of bang for your buck with the non-traditional students. Not that traditional students don't get things done also, because they do, but I think it's just a little different flavor with non-traditional students.